Rebecca from Papeteria Schwa, and I am here to share a journal that I finished a few days ago. I am calling her Big Bow Portrait because that's what we have. We have a postcard, or an original vintage postcard, and this young lady has a very big bow in her hair, so that's where the name of this comes from. It is 2¼ inches wide. It's made from the cover of Reader's Digest, an old Reader's Digest, and I kept the original book cover. I put covers on the corners. The back side is quite worn, but that was the look that I was going for in this particular journal. It has a little key with some little mother of pearl. I think these came off of either a necklace or earrings, and then the same on the bottom here. So there's 152 writing pages, and I won't go into the other details of what's in it because you'll see it as we go through. But so the front is this is a handkerchief that I folded kind of sideways and made a pocket, and then just glued these paper flowers to the front. I did just a slight inking around the edges just to help them be seen, a little bit of contrast, and also it kind of went with the brown taupe color of the journal overall. So what we have inside, I have pockets on the inside. I have a little bit of scrapbook paper in here, and then a lot of vintage, or in a case of a couple, maybe antique book pages. So this is just a little thing that I made. I don't know if I did a video of this, and I don't remember whose project I followed, but if I did do, I will add that into the description. This has a little flip up that you can journal underneath here, and I made this pocket. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's a double thickness here because I put a gusset in it so that it's flat at the edges, but it pops up like this so that it has room for this that's like a 1/4 inch thick. Goes in there like that. And then I have a doily, some vintage book pages from a flower book. I have a belly band that I made from an image out of a book, and then this book has 3 authentic vintage postcards. I bought a whole box about 3 or 4 years ago. It was a shoebox plus like half of another shoebox, and it had I don't know how many it had, but oodles, and it was $25 for the whole box. So now I did ink the edges, but I have quite a few of these left. I've used them over the years, but I have quite a few of these left, and so I just have that right there. Now the pages that I made, I've stenciled the pages with some little floral swirly things and some lines, but I don't know if you, let me go back to here. So the page underneath, you can see through the book, and I bought a roll, and I think it's a roll of vintage paper, and it's almost like it's freezer paper, but it's not freezer paper like we know. I don't know what kind of paper it actually is. It doesn't have any kind of anything adhere on it like plastic, like modern day freezer paper, but that's what it reminds me of. And if it's not freezer paper, then it's something along that line. But it's very transparent, and that's what I wanted in this journal, was something very delicate. And so almost every page that doesn't have something glued on it, you can see the page through it, the next page, and I like that it gives depth without actually doing something to the page. So there's a handful of just writing pages, and then there's I alternated with some vintage book pages. This comes out of a little book that I liked. So I put that in here, and it had a little poem on the inside. I made some tag strips and just used them as tuck spots and to help hold the little tags in place. This is wallpaper, and so I did like opposite corners here, and this was like a reprint of someone's photograph that was I found at the thrift store or someplace, and so I cut them in half and put them in here as journaling cards. So then this is the other side of that little book page. And so I'm going to flip up and go a little bit faster because it's just a lot of writing pages alternating with book pages. I have some floral books in here. This is a print. It's from a digital that I made from an authentic vintage. This one is a SIG catalog, and so there's a handful of these in here, and I do have these digitals for sale on my online store. So I'll link that as well. And the other thing is, I didn't coffee dye these like you would normally. I used my the ink that I made from flower petals, and so that's what the yellow you see here is goldenrod. It's made from goldenrod. And so here's more book pages to make a pocket, and this is a piece of scrapbook paper that looks like an old postcard, and I just put it in here as a journaling spot. I have a whole bunch of these that I made when we first moved into this house almost 7 years ago. It will be in like 2 weeks. After my husband and I had been through a fire, and at that time I had no idea who Tim Holtz was or anything about anything in that commercial way. But I found a piece of cloth that was like a half a yard that had all of these, the backs of these old photo cards on it. So I cut it apart and adhered it to, I guess, cardstock. I mean, I made these like 6 years ago, roughly. And they're in different colors. I double dipped them and sewed around the edges, and I've just had them in a drawer all this time. So I'm finally using them. Here's another authentic postcard from that batch. And then this was a page out of a book, actually. And then this also has a piece of that, it's like a faux postcard scrapbook page. And then the way I did my tabs, I have this open hold lace that I wanted to use, but I knew I wouldn't have very much to staple with. I have a tiny stapler. And so what I did is I put a piece of craft card underneath it so that way it's, you know, it's brown underneath. And then this is just a page out of a book, and here's the other side of that order form. And here's some little envelopes. I glued it on this side to create a tuck spot, and on this side it flips out and has a little journaling card inside. And then I did a tip in here with the front. This was a book page that I cut the borders off of, and used it as a tip in to. And then here's the rest of that scrapbook paper, or part of it anyway, and just used it as a tip in here. And this signature begins with a music sheet, and here's just more from book pages. This is 2 more of those authentic vintage replicas from my digital kit. And so this one I made with marigolds, and this one is also the goldenrod. And So then we have a dictionary page with a flower, a foxglove on it. And here's a recipe for strawberry jello, and you'll get the recipe on the other side over here. And then there's notes. And then here's the middle of this signature that has more of these digitals, and then some book pages in the back here. And then more recipe, a recipe page. And here's the other side of the jello whatever. And then more dictionary page, and the okay, so this has 5 signatures, and we just looked through 3 of them so far. So mainly what I make is writing journals. I don't do a lot of heavy decorating because these journals I'm making for festivals and fairs, and so I'm not doing a lot of heavy decorating, mainly because I don't think that is the place to sell the heavily decorated ones. Any that I make like that will be in a different type. But anyway, let me carry on. So this is a page from a clock, like how the history of clocks and how they came to be, and the different types of clocks and things like that. Some little cards I made from some scrapbook paper. This is also wallpaper that I coffee stained, and then I put a little, there is a pocket here, but I didn't have anything small enough that I hadn't used somewhere else to put in this. It's just a little folded doily, so there is a pocket underneath it, and I left it open on the back side so you could actually put something all the way through. And there's more about the clocks, and then another little envelope. Another piece of lined paper. This is from a vintage ledger sheet, or not a ledger sheet, but like a paper pad. And then more. Here's another one of those digitals. And this is from the clocks. It shows you the different pendulums. And another gardening, from a gardening book, Shrubs and Hedges. And here's the other side of that wallpaper that was in the front, with 2 more of those cards. And another book page. And there's the other side of the pendulum. And then I put this bird. This was a greeting card, and here's the last postcard. And most of the postcards that I had in that shoebox that I bought they were printed in the 70s, but they're all of like old artwork and stuff. And then here's the end, and at the end I have a small collection. I made these envelopes last month, I believe, when I started my a series that will soon come to an end, and that'll be another announcement later. And then this, I don't have anything in it, but it's a tag with a little pocket, and then 2 tags that I made back in the winter when I was not filming. And so this pocket is made the same way as the one in the front. And so it has a flip up here, you can write here. And then there's the back. And so that is Big Bow Portrait. That's what I'm calling this one. So thank you all very much for watching. And she has a sister or a cousin or whatever she is that I will be making in a separate video. But anyway, this journal goes into my festivals and fairs. Since the last time I posted a video, I knew I was going to one fair in Indiana in the spring, and that now has a date of June. But my other daughter, who lives in North Carolina, added me to her venue. She's going to a fair in Spartanburg, South Carolina in May, and it's a 3-day event. And so I will be taking my journals and my handmade paper to that fair as well. So that's where this one will go. So thank you all very much for watching, and there'll be another video soon of her relative.